This whole world is lifeless and dead.
They all went mad. I saw something.
There's nothing there.
It's an empty room.
Get back!
I liked it. Again. Oh, hey guys. Welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank. And today we're going to go over The Well. Yeah, yeah. You guys remember the episode Midnight? This is the sequel to Midnight. A follow-up to Midnight. The conclusion of Midnight. No, it's not the conclusion of Midnight. If Russell gets another season or another era where he comes back, we'll probably get, I would guess, the ship. I don't know. Daylight, daybreak, twilight. I don't know. So anyway, let's focus here for a bit here. All right. So while trying to figure out a way to get home, Belinda has what I think is a very sort of realistic approach to the idea of never being able to get back home. All right. Totally fine. Totally fine. I think it's great because the whole idea here is that, while I'm not a big fan of it being that something is keeping the doctor from getting Belinda home to her present time, um, Belinda's response to the idea of never being able to come back home, I think, is great. Belinda's not like um, Rose or Donna. There's nothing special she's seeking in life. She's not even that much similar to Martha so far in the 3 episodes we've seen so far. And the fact she's not really interested in it. She's very much is reminiscent of Tegan, but with a bit less of a temper. Um, and that might hurt her going forward, but we're only 3 episodes in, and there's nothing terrible about Belinda's character, but there's nothing special about her, except for the fact that she seems kind of all right. Maybe a bit too well adjusted, but who knows? Who knows? Like I said, time will tell. All she wants right now is to get home. So, with the vortex indicator, or the vindicator, as the doctor calls it, it's like, hey, I'm going to get you home. They try. They end up 500,000 years into the future, effectively 500,000 years. Belinda is surprised. So, like, we're still here? Like, Earth? Humans? Yeah, still here. This is a reference to not just later stories like shown in, End of the World. Was it End of the World? Yes, Rose's second episode, where, we know that happens, or The Beast Below, where we know, hey, at some point, human mankind will leave Earth. You could also call it a reference to the first Doc's era with the Thousand World Empire. But, whatever, we're here. They arrive after getting changed, and this is where my first real issue with the episode comes in, is the fact that when they arrive on a ship, and they have to go jumping, and they're already perfectly dressed to blend in. Nah, nah, because they both didn't know what each other was wearing, so I'm guessing the TARDIS didn't provide it, so they just decided to dress for the occasion. I don't know. A bit of psychic paper later, the Doc is able to get his way in and figure out where they are. They're on a mining planet, or at least an old planet just doused in galvanic radiation. And yeah, we're trying to get to this mining colony with about 35 people on it. And apparently it all just went dark, so that's what they're doing. And they come across the mining colony, and there's one bit moment where the doctor calls someone babe. He says, "Don't call me babe." He calls her hun, calls him hun. I'm like, well, I don't, I don't like. What is this? Are we trying to? We say the doctor gets a pass because he's catty. I don't know. I don't know, but whatever. He's taking himself too seriously. All right, but whatever. So then, they come to the colony and they find like all these dead people. They've either been thrown, and so all their bones are broken, or they've been shot. Like, okay. Then they come to a room where they find the last survivor, which is a deaf woman, named Alice. And this is sort of where the story really picks up, where the mystery begins. What killed these people? Alice says that she had to kill her best friend because her best friend went crazy. And I'm like, okay. I thought the reveal was going to be Alice was actually some malevolent force. And I think that would have been way more interesting had Russell not had this other idea going on. But while the doctor goes with, uh, forgotten her name already. I just watched it with the commander. We'll call her the commander, and we get a little character moment with her. Belinda stays with Alice, and the other officers, the other members of the unit, And this is where the story sort of evolves into two parts. Ultimately, it turns out that what killed them is the monster from Midnight. The Doctor finds out, oh, this is the same planet that 400,000 years ago was Midnight, i.e., the episode that people tend to laud as one of Russell's best. All right, it's an episode that is really just pure acting. It really is. The idea is that the monster isn't visibly there. All right, like we, the audience, don't get to see it, and in this episode here, uh, we don't get to see it. We just know it's behind them, behind whoever it chooses as the host. I'm like, okay, okay, this has always been a really creative idea. We see it again, not the same monster, but with um, Vincent and the Doctor. But in that one, the enemy is depression, and the invisible enemy you can't see, or mental illness, whichever one you want to go with. So, okay. This one here is a follow-up to Midnight. We see the Doctor visibly shaken. There's also a bit of a mystery here is that no one knows of Earth. Now, it's been 500,000 years, so one would say, well, it's possible Earth is just gone, a dead husk. You know, its sun went supernova and it's gone, possibly. But they don't even remember the human race. Now, that's interesting because these are definitely humans. They never give any other name for their species. And so, in other words, either it's been so long they've forgotten the original home world, which doubt it, um, or more than likely, whatever is keeping Belinda from getting back to her time has affected Earth's own history. In other words, probably is gone. Now, we saw at the end of Robot Revolution, I remember the name finally, that Earth is gone. It's destroyed. But what causes that, we don't know. But overall, that is just sort of a fun little mystery to put into the head here to sort of further the overall story. I approve of that. But this episode overall is just really great performances altogether. All right, primarily from the Doctor. And I've always said the Doctor has to be the strongest actor there. The only actor that gets to outshine them is another Doctor, hence Day of the Doctor. Um, or a really stellar enemy like, say, the Master. Um, here, Shooty cries, and I know we're all, but this is sort of, I think, best. This is one of those where I think had he not been crying earlier, because he seems to be crying every episode, which has always been the complaint that it sort of waters down other attempts here. This time, though, we have the advantage of this being an enemy that the Doctor has faced before, namely an enemy the Doctor didn't beat; he just sort of got away from. You know, right? He survived the foe of midnight. Whatever was on midnight that day, he survived it. That's his only real accomplishment. Just about everyone, nothing but death there. Then the Doctor even mentions, like, hey, this was frightening. All right. So I do like that. Also, it seems that the creature has evolved over the 400,000 years. So, yeah, that makes sense. And the fact that the creature doesn't mimic anymore. He just sort of gets seen just a little bit to create that paranoia that it was creating before. I like that as an idea. But overall, though, I think if you're not interested in Midnight, which I'm kind of neutral on Midnight, to me it was just an episode, you may not like it. It may not have a lot of rewatchability, or it may not, or it might actually just be really good later on. It might still hold up. I don't see a reason for it not to go down, for it to go down in quality. I don't see that reason at all. But if you want something with a bit more bombastic, with a bit more energy to it, mm, this isn't it for you, honestly, and it's no fault. This sort of base under siege story where the enemy is just sort of there, like standing there, probably won't work out for some people. But overall, I think if you just have an episode where everyone can sort of act, I think it's well. I don't think Shooty really gave a stellar performance until he found out, which okay, fair. But even then, it wasn't that great until he confronted the creature fa- face to face. So overall, it's a solid episode. So Russell's what is it? Was it out of three? He's done two good so far. He also should be noted. I don't think he's not the only writer for this one. So who knows? Who knows? Next episode is going to be about Ruby. Ruby's back. So I guess that means we're ending up in the past or the future. Well, the past begins. So this one, the ending I felt of this episode was all right. Um, oh, the creature didn't go away. Okay. I still don't see the point of that either way. But like I said, at some point, if Russell's asked to come back to be a showrunner for a third time, don't. Just ask me if he wants to write the final chapter of Midnight. Um, do with that one. Um, there's not much here overall. I think that might be the weakest part. In the original Midnight, pretty much every character there gets to do something interesting, gets to play off the creature in one form or another. Here, that doesn't happen. Only a small handful of the crew get to play off of them. Few of them even get to say their names more than once. So, eh, that's missing. The paranoia is sort of played down a bit compared to Midnight. Midnight was where this one has an entire base that gets underused. um, Midnight had just one compartment on a train. And I think that was way more powerful because the idea is that everything there is freaking everyone out. No one knows what's going on. Even more so that it seems to be playing around with people's perception. Even the doctor seems to be affected by the creature. So yeah, there's that. Mm. Overall, it's a solid episode. It's not an amazing episode. Like I said, if you're a fan of Midnight, you're gonna love this follow up. Or you may not like it because it is a follow-up to Midnight, and you thought Midnight was fine as it is. But I think it still honors sort of the spirit of Midnight, and the fact that the Doctor didn't really accomplish much here. Like even at the end, when he thinks like, okay, we've got a way to defeat the creature. Turns out we didn't defeat the creature. Then someone else has to make the sacrifice to defeat the creature. Then it turns out creature's still here. So yeah, I'm just glad this wasn't Earth. I'm glad we didn't pull an Orphan 55 and still went nowhere with it. Honestly, we could turn this off. I think we're all tired of seeing the same three images. Honestly, if we're examining this, this would possibly, and I hate to say it this way because some people will probably rightfully roll their eyes. This was the least woke story ever. I'm sure the people on the whole anti-woke Doctor Who's too woke brigade, which no, I'll sometimes entertain because a point's a point. Um, the ones that are super foaming at the mouth about it. Well, that at the end of it, there's only like the only survivors are the three people of color, and not the two white ones. Like the one white guy that gets to speak the most is like the one who keeps questioning everybody. I'm like, okay, sometimes it just is what it is. Okay, just is what it is. I would like more diversity in characters who get to be terrible, but we don't always get what we want. Um, I am interested in this big mystery here, but I also don't think they mention what the Foundation is. I think the Foundation is supposed to be Earth in the far future, the Thousand World Empire, maybe even something along the lines of the Shadow Proclamation, which you think Russell would bring up again in this shorter era. If we ignore Robot Revolution and just go from Joy to the World, Lux, and The Well, I think this actually is a very solid season so far. I think it's only, what, 8 episodes a season now? Not a fan. Not a fan. It means that everything has to be very tight, and I don't know what. Honestly, I don't know what to make of it. But you didn't hear me complain about. It. You heard me talk about the episode. Like I said, solid episode, good all around. I think again, fan of Midnight, you'll probably like it. Didn't like Midnight, you probably won't. You probably just find it just like, oh, we're going back here again. If you're like me, indifferent to Midnight, like, oh, Russell's just doing something good. Let's do it. All right, let's return to Midnight. Or some what's Planet 6767. Whatever. Yeah, we're done here. Anyway, what'd you guys think of The Well? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Leave your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll catch you all next time. This is about Thinking signing off. Thanks for watching as always. May your fandom serve you well.